Malawian court has ordered that Shepherd and Mary Bushiri be brought back to South Africa to face several charges against them. However, the pair will not be arrested as they intend to appeal the ruling. South African government indicated that it will await the appeal process but will oppose the appeal. Mpumelelo Zikalala, who's a legal practitioner of Zikalala Attorneys, joins us to expand on the conversation. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. What should one make of this process? I mean, it's quite clear the Bushiris have cases to answer to here in South Africa.
Good evening to you, and also good evening to your viewers. I think it should spark a bit of credence to the claims that South Africa has made to show that the NPA has really made a good job in making a good application that was aimed by the Malawian government to then say, here's a set of facts that we have. This is what we have against the Bushiris, and we need them to come to South Africa in order to answer to the crimes in which they face. Remember, when you make an extradition application such as this one, you are basically presenting your case as if you are presenting it in South Africa. So you have to make sure that all the prosecutors that are going to go there up to scratch, the evidence in which you are going to apply is up to scratch. You give assurance that when a person comes to South Africa, they'll be afforded their rights, which may be applicable to what they have in Malawi. So with this application going through, I can certainly sort of come to a conclusion that South Africa really did a good job in making this application, hence the application being granted.
So with the Bushiri's intention to appeal the ruling, I mean, what is at stake there?
Well, it's still within their rights. Remember that in any constitutional country that is there, whenever you have a ruling which is against you, which is adverse against you, you have those appeal procedures which are applicable to you. So the same would apply as if the application was granted in the High Court in South Africa. You still have to go to the SCA equivalent in Malawi, and also to go to the Constitutional Court equivalent also in Malawi. But at the end of the day, the mere fact that the application was not dismissed at the Court of First Instance simply means that there's something in which the Bushiris need to answer to. The Malawian government and Malawian courts can see that there's a case in which they need to come back and answer to, hence the application being granted.
And as one has to break down and have a look at the charges, I mean, we're talking here violating bail conditions, rape. While awaiting trial, this couple were granted bail and then they fled under mysterious circumstances. What approach will the court take?
But the very first task that is done by any court when they have an extradition application is faced by it is to say, is this a crime in our country? If this is a crime also in our country, then the chances of saying go back to the particular country in which the crime was allegedly created or committed in to answer to your charges, it will be the first instance. Any other charges which are going to follow after that, for example, violating bail conditions, evading trial, then they need to come back and explain how did you move from South Africa and into other borders, who assisted you, let those people come to the fore so that you can be able to prosecute them. But remember, you left this country after being told and being given or being trusted by our court system to say you will come back on this particular day. Hence, they said you're a perfect candidate for you to be granted bail. So if you violate those things, then you must come back and answer to those allegations. But the most important one, which I think the court would have concentrated on, is the one of saying there are rape allegations against you. Committing rape is also an offense when it comes to the Malawian country. Go back to South Africa to answer to your crimes. And then they've given us assurance that you will be afforded the levels of justice which are applicable to anyone and that we are using in this country anyways. So go back there and be able to defend yourself.
What we do know, Mpumelelo, is that the pair will not be arrested as yet. Perhaps explain and clarify the reasons behind that.
Remember that the effects of any appeal, once it has been submitted, it suspends whatever order that was created or was issued earlier. So there may be an order that says Bushiri and Mrs. Bushiri, please go back to South Africa. But the mere fact that there's an appeal that has been lodged by them, it simply means that that order is suspended up until a higher court has listened to further arguments, has been maybe trying to persuade whether the court of first instance was incorrect and maybe come to a different conclusion. But if that appeal court comes back to the same conclusion as the court of first instance, then they'll have no choice than to be extradited to South Africa. It's still within the constitutional rights of the natural rights of justice to say, if ever you feel that a certain dispute resolution tribunal or dispute resolution process has not found in your favor, go to it at the next level. Maybe in the particular next level they'll find in your favor. But I think the facts here are quite easy to understand. They are quite bare, and there's really nothing in which could be at fault in terms of the manner in which the South African government handled itself in executing this application.
We also know that the couple appeared in different courts in 2020 on multiple criminal charges. As we take a look at the period that this matter has taken to eventually, try and get the couple back in court, what stands out for you as you analyze the entire case and the probabilities?
Firstly, it's the one of saying maybe from a South African context, we need to find a way of shortening these processes and making sure that with our foreign counterparts, it's easier for us to discuss, to seek for their help whenever a person has fled into their country. Remember that when you go to court, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the person is guilty. So the quality and the quantity of the evidence is going to matter. The number of witnesses that are still alive is going to matter. The number of evidence that you can still be able to obtain, you can still be able to authenticate is also going to be very important. So the longer you wait, the harder it is for you to prove your matter. So the quicker in which you're able to move with these extradition applications, the better in which we'll be able to deliver the justice in which we want our departments, especially the NPA, to go and do. So maybe it's a lesson learned to say, how can we tweak things here and there, make sure that we have these processes which are going to be a bit quicker, so that we do not have to wait for all these years in order to bring two individuals back in order for them to answer to the allegations in which they face in our country.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. Mpumelelo Zikalala, legal practitioner of Zikalala Attorneys, weighing in on the Bushiri matter. For a Malawian court has ordered Shepherd and Mary Bushiri to be brought back to South Africa.